In this video, I'm working with my man, Josh Schmidt.
You.
He is a business wizard and also just a great dude. And I've gotten to know him quite a bit. He said he wanted some help with scripting. And I said, I can help you with that. So if you're watching this, it's essentially going to be a coaching session that would be similar to if you were to work with me, but we're going to get to see into his business, get to understand his customer, set up his software and his CRM for videos in a way that is super easy. All that being said, I want you to first introduce yourself, Josh, and then we'll dive into this stuff.
Yes, sir. A lot I could say. Don't want to take up too much time. But basically, throughout my whole career, over the last 6, 7 years, I really got started in this entire online high ticket coaching and consulting space. Quite a long journey through working through different companies, having different sales positions, different marketing positions at a lot of bigger companies in this space who were like the forefathers of this whole industry. So I learned a ton through all the people that I worked with previously before obviously starting my own business. But really what my specialty came down to after years of doing this at a very high level is building overall client acquisition systems that consist of utilizing organic content, paid advertising, and building marketing and sales systems, meaning like every single touch point from lead attraction to actually signing a client and every single step in between, and what kind of has to go on in the background with both the human touch point side of things to also just the automated behaviors, messaging, copywriting, all of that stuff, funnel conversions, everything, building sales teams, training sales reps, all of that stuff. So really when you are looking to build and scale a coaching consulting business at a super high level, and like multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, if not millions per month in revenue, there's really a lot that goes into it that not too many people have experience in actually building and running. And so that's what I do. We build those systems and make people a lot of money.
Yeah, I love it. Who are maybe some of the big people that you've worked with? Because
Yeah.
when you had said that, I was like, oh, I've heard of these guys before.
Yeah, absolutely. So early on in my career, I had worked for Taylor Welch's company. If people listening know who he is, you can look him up. That's really where I got started with everything in my whole career. But then client-wise and some of the other companies that we had worked with while we were really fine-tuning this entire strategy and approach, one of our bigger clients was a company called Fun Launch. Bridger Pennington is a very awesome dude and runs a very amazing company. And we did some great work there. We worked with another company called Flip System. That's Antoine Martel's company over there. They do some really cool stuff in the real estate fix and flip space, and they do high ticket coaching there, helping people get involved in their first couple of fix and flips. A more recent client that we're working with is a guy by the name of Kyle Carnahan. He does like life coaching, fitness, faith coaching, all of that stuff for men, specifically fathers. So a lot of really cool, different, diverse people that we work with, everything from the finance side to the real estate side to the life coaching, fitness, health, wellness, all that stuff.
I love it. I think that we should just get going. Okay. So
Let's ride.
we're going to sign you up for Notion. I love Notion. So if you haven't already, go Google Notion, sign up for your account with your email or Google or however you want to sign in. But as you do that, once you actually get that set up, click on the link and then we'll duplicate that over into your account. But as you do that, let me just talk through it in case anyone watching this is okay, why Notion, all this kind of stuff. The reason I like Notion is because one, it's like a sandbox. You can build anything you want in it. And two, it works as a really good content management system, or CMS is what some people will call it. But recently we just switched away from Notion and went to Monday because we wanted to be able to automate tasks better, but we just switched everything back because Notion is just better in my opinion. That so many different things, but especially when it comes to the content creation side of things, it's the best that I know of. Okay, so are you there?
I'm signed in.
Okay, so go ahead and click on the link that I sent. Okay, and then there should be in the top right, it looks like a copy button. Hit that, it should duplicate it. Okay.
You're in. We
Okay.
are so in.
Sweet. So now let me have you share your screen. This right here is essentially what I use with the people that I coach in 100K Sports Coach. So this is like the template. So there's going to be some stuff in here that won't specifically apply to you, but let's go right to that content home base example. So in here, the big thing, you probably know this, maybe other people don't. We'll just run through it real quick. But you have a table view and a board view. I personally like the board view because I like to see things in like a Kanban board. But so then you can see this board view is filtered by status, where you have idea, written, filmed. You can see the other hidden groups on the right side. There's just nothing in those. That's why it automatically hid them. So you can have different tags. I like to have, if you go back to the table, see where it says custom tag and it's SF1 right there. I put that as an example of like short form one. I would probably also have another, not a status tag, but another select one type of option, not select multiple of short form versus long form, because they are fundamentally different. And I might also add in a checkbox that would have blog, yes or no. And then if that's true, then there's a whole workflow on the back end. Like, how do we turn this into a blog that is posted on the site? So I got the custom tag idea from a guy named Stephen G. Pope, who I've actually had multiple conversations with. Super cool dude, but he's like an automation expert. He likes to use Airtable for this rather than Notion, but I find Notion is just much easier for me. And he creates a custom tag, then has the videos stored in Google Drive. And then that way, at any point, he can go see for that particular video, what's the original video file, what's the edited video file, is there a thumbnail, and it's all attached to one specific thing. That's a little bit about that. Now let's hop back out to the template. And then why don't you go to the content home base right there? Okay, sick. So underneath templates right there, go ahead and drop down the toggle. So basically what I have in here, launches, pain points, just some different scripts. But for now, let's close all of that. So why don't you start talking though about your best customer, your ideal customer? Give me a little bit more context into that person.
Yeah, let me actually pull up the sheet. I made a very detailed 3-tiered ICP sheet.
An ICP, if people aren't familiar, is
your ideal customer profile or client profile.
All good content ultimately comes from understanding your customer and understanding the offer and the pain points, right? You have to have all of that.
This is actually a really good exercise, this sheet that we give to our clients as well, that you can share with your clients. Basically, we map out 3 tiers of your ICP. So your ICP 1 is your dream client, who is like a perfect fit on paper that you know 100% if they are booking a call with you or whatever it is, that they are becoming a client. ICP 2 is just your average bread and butter client. You definitely know you can help them, but maybe it takes some convincing. ICP 3, you can help them, but not necessarily the best client or someone you'd be insanely stoked about. And even just a non-ICP, just someone you don't want to work with at all. So it helps you map out and get really clear on who are the specific types of people that you do want to work with. And for each of them, we ask 3 questions. What do they want to have, or what do they have / where are they at right now? What's their current situation? What's the current state of their business, their life, whatever? What do they want? So what's their desired situation? What are their goals? And then the third question is what's stopping them, right? What are the challenges that are keeping them from getting to that desired situation? And so we map that out for all 3 of them. So for this purpose of this video, we'll go through ICP number 1 right here. What do they have / where are they currently at? They are an expert at what they do. They have a track record of success. They've tried either starting or scaling their high ticket coaching business, but their strengths are in the fact that they are really good at getting their clients the results that they promise them. They're really good at working with their clients. They're starting to make some money. They're usually around 5 to 10K per month, sometimes more, sometimes can be up to 25, maybe 50K per month in revenue, but they are really on the revenue roller coaster because they do not really have a productized system for getting clients consistently. So a lot of their clients are coming from organic content or referrals, and there's really just no system behind it. And so usually what was someone who is hovering around this 5 to 10K per month mark with their coaching business. Sometimes they'll have months where if their average is around 5 to 10K, they'll have months where they'll shoot up to 25, 30 out of nowhere. And maybe it's because one piece of content did really well. They got a lot of followers. They had more conversations, or it's just a freak month and they had a couple people come in more than average than what usually happens. And so their revenues are really just up and down. Like I said, riding the revenue roller coaster. They want to grow, but they do not know how to do it in the sense of what's the right marketing strategy to get more leads? How do you advertise? And what is the appropriate sales process to actually close cold traffic on sales calls?
Yeah, cool. I love that. So when you do this with your clients or even with yourself, 30 seconds or less, how do you come up with this? I feel like a lot of people might say, oh, this looks awesome, but I'm not 100% sure
Yeah.
about the information here. Does that just mean that they don't understand their customer well enough?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. And this isn't something that most people can do in just like 2 minutes. Some people know their customers really well and it's no problem. But the point of this is to sit down and spend an hour really getting super, super clear on all three of these ICPs. And a lot of this comes from actually having conversations, getting on sales calls, talking to people who are interested in what you do and need your help, and really just starting to segment who these people are based on their situations.
I love it. Okay, so let me take back the screen share and we're gonna script some content. So again, if we come into these templates, I really think that the pain point is so good because again, that's what resonates. And so I think some form of template similar to this one would work really well. We're going to use the template here. So for the text hook, I would probably say why your coaching is stuck under 10K. So that's the angle that we're going to take for this. If you're a coach who's stuck with the text hook and the initial hook, you don't want to say the exact same thing. You want it to be different angles on the same idea. And so if you're a coach who's struggling to break through, you could even say this because you have the call out in the text. But if you're struggling to break through 10K a month in your online business, or you've hit 10K once or twice, but it's not super consistent, then tell me if this sounds familiar. So now we're going to go into, so why is this coach stuck at 10K? What are the actual reasons why they are?
Yeah, from what I've seen and a lot of the people that we've worked with, all of their lead flow is coming from organic content. That's like for sure the biggest thing I've seen.
And even if you're consistent at producing content,
It's not strategic enough
it's not strategic enough
to drive
to
leads.
drive leads. Absolutely. I would assume the next problem is you probably don't have a nurturing system in place. You don't have any nurturing system in place. Maybe you have an initial sequence set up,
Yeah, but not long-term audience building, audience nurturing.
but no long-term audience building and audience nurturing, and definitely not any sort of value or belief style content preparing them to become great clients. They probably don't have nurturing. If they do have nurturing, it's probably only short term. And
Yeah.
even if they do have
It's
long
like the
term,
delivery sequence of, let's say they had some sort of call to action on their posts and it was to get some sort of lead magnet.
yeah.
Their only nurturing is that delivery sequence.
Now I'm going to say here, once you get the leads. So again, we're trying to put this in a story format if possible. So tell me if this sounds familiar. Your lead flow comes only from organic. And even if you're consistent at producing content, it's not strategic enough to drive leads. And once you get the leads, you don't have any nurturing system in place. Maybe you have an initial sequence set up, but there's no long-term audience building and nurturing. This is why when we script, we want to edit with our ear.
Yeah.
That's something that you'll hear me say a lot. And definitely not any sort of value or belief style content, preparing them to become great clients. Okay. And then what would be the third thing? Probably a sales process.
Yeah, usually there's sales process in the sense of now, even if you are getting calls booked with you, you probably are getting objection after objection. Like, I'll think about it, send me proof. Can I speak to one of your past clients?
Okay. So let's read this. And again, when we script great videos, those are easily become great ads as well. But I really like to, personally, for me, again, I haven't even really touched ads that much. I've basically done everything.
Yeah, but the proof is that when you're looking at paid ads, your best organic posts are usually
The
what is
best
going to turn
performing ads.
into a high performing ad. Because if
Yeah.
it works organically, it's definitely going to work on paid ads.
Yeah.
Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time.
I agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. Validate it in organic. If it doesn't work, then maybe we go back, change the script, something like that. Then you can turn it into paid. But so if you're struggling to break through 10K a month in your online business, or you've hit 10K once or twice, but it's not super consistent, then tell me if this sounds familiar. Your lead lead flow comes from organic content. And even if you're consistent at producing that content, it's not strategic enough to drive leads. And once you get the leads, you don't have any nurturing system in place. Maybe you have an initial sequence set up, but no long-term audience building or nurturing. And definitely not any value or belief style content preparing them to become great clients. And even if you are getting calls, I don't like that transition. I think it should be, or you might even be getting calls booked or getting hit with lots of objections on the call. Like, I'll think about it, send me proof, and speak to one of your past clients. It doesn't have to be this way. You can, what would you say here?
What's the transition that we're going for?
So it would be probably based off of the problems. So you can get consistent lead flow with a great nurturing system in place that prevents objections on the calls is probably what it would be. So tying back problem 1, problem 2, problem 3 into this.
So this statement right here, this transition is basically just stating that there's
a solution
way to get, there is a solution to get consistent lead flow.
You can get consistent lead flow and nurture them strategic so you can
prevent objections.
Prevent objections.
Yeah, and we can reword this. I have another thing for this as well that we can actually reword if we need to, because it's basically about building trust and applying the entire 7-11-4 rule with content and exposure so that this trust can be built and established before they even get on a call.
Don't believe me? DM me scaling. I'll send you the scaling playbook that not only helps you scale to bigger months, but also helps you scale past 10K a month. It also helps you build a consistent and reliable customer acquisition system. Okay, so that's like a longer video. It's a little addy in that sense. So I would also come in here, probably do select, type, and then this will be short form. We could also do long form. You could also tag these by like pain points and stuff, but I would just title this probably this. And then now that's in here. You could also have like lead magnet or again, a select bar. You could say scaling playbook. So then this would be like a lead magnet. Okay, so that's one. Let's see if we can get one more here. If we zoom into this, which one of these pain points resonates with your perfect client the most?
Number one issue most people say they have, which obviously, as you and I talked about yesterday, there's a myriad of different reasons of what actually causes those pain points. But the number one pain point that people resonate with is I don't have enough leads. We can make a really interesting video based on the call I had yesterday and what we talked about, which is just where they're at right now.
Nice.
I think that's probably a more like higher tiered client and a little more sophisticated as opposed to a coach who is going around 5 to 15K per month and just starting out. But that would be a very interesting one that I know for a fact a lot of big coaches struggle with.
Which is what? I don't have enough leads, or what was the other idea?
Sorry. They basically have built their name by being like an industry titan over the last 10, 15 years. And so they've got a huge following. Maybe they do a lot of speaking engagements. Maybe they've got a book, whatever it is. And that's how they make most of their money. Maybe they've got some one-on-one clients that they consult on, but they are leaving so much money on the table because they don't really have a core offer that solves a very big issue in their market. Does that make sense?
Totally.
They know they're leaving money on the table, but they don't know what to even do in the sense of building that core offer. For example, the way they explained it to me, and I'm saying this in their terms, is that they've got great resources for their top of funnel. They have tons of free content, tons of different lead magnets. They have low ticket communities where people pay small monthly subscriptions to be a part of and get coaching. And then they also have for very big, serious business owners, one-on-one consulting that costs anywhere from 30 to 200K per year. And so the big hole that they're missing is that they don't even know what product they could come up with and who their ideal client is to fit into the middle of both of those. That would essentially be their core offer that they could automate as much as possible and fulfill on super easily. And in a nutshell, there's 0 ascension processes from top of funnel to middle of funnel to their back end offer, if you will.
Beautiful. Dude, it's the reason that this is going to be so effective is because it's actually true.
Yeah.
The reason that this content will resonate is because that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I think these ones will do really well.
But yeah, like this could be really interesting. Again, this might be a little long, but
Yeah,
POV,
we
you're an
can,
industry titan, but don't have a core offer, or but
but
no, you're
yeah,
leaving millions on the table, or some sort of pain point here.
yeah,
I've talked with a lot of large personal brands lately, and here's what I keep hearing.
yeah, dude, this will be really good.
So,
That's for the like big, like huge name people.
yeah.
That's what they're worried about because they're already so busy, right? They're traveling around the world doing speaking engagements and going to different events and have all these other pieces of their business and they're running the business as well, right? So they don't really just want to create something that is going to take another 20 to 40 hours a week from them.
Okay, so yeah, I think this is a really good framework here. So this type of content I've found is so valuable. The insight-driven content where it's like, hey, lately, you might even start with that. Lately, I've talked with a lot of large personal brands, and here's what I keep hearing. You have tons of resources on your top of funnel, lots of lead magnets, big following, maybe very successful coach, or maybe lots of accolades or something like that.
Mm,
You might even have a low ticket membership, and then you have a really expensive one-on-one program, but there's a huge gap because there's no core offer in the middle and there's no ascension process that's
yes.
truly dialed in. And your big fear is, if I do create this core offer, am I going to create another job for myself? And you don't want that because you're busy coaching, speaking, and running your business. And on top of that, you don't want to ruin your reputation by putting your name on something that's not going to perform well. If that's you, send me a DM. Love to have a conversation with you. I think that could be a really powerful one. Again, like the more stuff that you can do where it's like actually from the conversations that you are having, that's going to be the most effective content
Yeah.
because
Real life feedback.
yeah. And then they're
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy actually knows. The only reason that he
Yeah.
would know that is because he's working with other people similar
Yeah.
to me, which means that he can probably help me too.
100%. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this is going to be great.
Give me your biggest takeaway. And then,
Biggest takeaway is how much easier it is to get content and ideations and scripts out of your head when you have someone who actually knows how to templatize and format content that will work based off of stats proof from past content that does really well. If it's just me trying to do it, I get in my own head of that's not good. No, this could be better, blah, 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 blah. Whereas if you have a third party outside perspective mapping out content for you, helping you pull ideas out of your head, it is very easy to get content done. Because if I have scripts that I know have the proven framework behind them that will do well, I can sit and record for hour, 2 hours, a couple times per week and get as much content made as possible.
yeah.
So that is the most important thing, in my opinion.
All right, man.
Big time.
Good stuff. Let me know if you have any other questions on that. But
Yes,
I think
sir.
we'll have
Thank
to
you,
run
my
this
brother.
back again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we will.
All
We
right, bro.
definitely will. All right. Peace, dude.
Okay.
Thanks.
Have a good one.